effort and energy you're putting into kind of upgrading the planet, and many other visionary leaders are. Do you feel we have already made a significant change? We are coming towards a tipping point?
Yes, I feel that we are. I feel that in consciousness, we have reached a tipping point. I don't feel as though it's a matter of if we're going to change. It's more of a matter of how it's going to look as we bring in these new paradigm ways of being, and as the sort of, the next scenario, which is based on ethics and integrity and love and respect for one another, harmony with the planet. Those things are clearly in the blueprint for the next phase of life on the planet, whether you're talking about like the age of Aquarius or any of the prophecies for this time coming up. It feels clear when I write my books and when I'm receiving guidance that it's a done deal. We will make it. However, that doesn't mean we don't have work to do to get there. It's like between now and then, it's up to us, each and every single one of us, exactly how easy and graceful that transition is going to be. We get to show up now fully, realizing the implications of our actions and deciding together through our actions how this whole thing is going to roll out and how this change is going to happen. And now saying that is also not to dismiss the very crucial and alarming and startling, behaviors of some large companies in terms of genetically modified foods, in terms of economies, in terms of what seems to be even more of a desire to control and take away rights that seems to be happening right now by some of the larger institutions and bodies in different countries. So this should be alarming to us, and if people choose to stay asleep and choose to continue just to watch downgraded media and to eat poisoned foods and to simply look to their own bottom line and simply chase after money, that action or lack of action is going to bear its own fruit to those individuals who choose to follow that path at this time. Because truly, we are required on a spiritual level, to claim our sovereignty and our power from within, to stand together to say what we choose to accept into our life and what we don't. And it's a very important part of the maturing process as beings, for us to have the willingness to move beyond our comfort zone into an ability to respond, responsibility. We need to be able to respond to the situation at hand. And one of the greatest tricks is the sort of dumbing down, the sort of comfort zone that happens. And so if we might have to go out of our comfort zone a bit in order to step up the action from our own personal perspective, to do our job. And all we have to do is say that we're willing, and the universe backs us up, as we say yes. And then as each of us says yes, at this time of the planet, we get to show up fully with our gifts. We get to give it our best shot. And then, at the very least, we get to say, I did my best.
Sure. With the daily choices we're making. And so that shows, again, it depends on our openness to what is happening, not seeing the so-called crises as something bad, or as dangerous, but as an opportunity for something new to build and to co-create together.
That's right. A lot of people find themselves to be afraid of the dark side, and I think that's like a natural step in evolution and consciousness, and we may all have different fears, and rightly so, at certain times on the planet. What I find, though, is that the more we attune to that inner source within, the more we find ourselves on our path awakening, the less we're pushing against and making others wrong, instead stepping into creating the life that we wish to create. The more we're just recognizing who we are and what we're here to do. And sometimes it may be speaking out against injustice. It may be doing things to counter, some really unfortunate things that are going on. it's a shift in perspective once again, or should I say an expansion of perspective, which would allow us to know that we can be entrenched in duality, where there are beings or entities or things pitted against each other all the time. You know, that's one level of looking at things. And then there's another expanded level, which I call, you know, the unified field or the resonant field awareness, that includes it includes everything. So it must also include those dualistically opposing points of view as well. It knows everything, it feels everything, it sees everything, past, present, future. It's all contained within here. Not that it's all predestined, because I think it's so vast that it's impossible for any of us to totally comprehend this, all that is, this source, this essence of where we came from and where we return to. However, if we expand our perception a little bit to include the duality and understand that there is an overlighting unity, then there must be, like you said, a sort of cauldron of growth and learning that comes about when you add these so-called opposing forces together. We do get to grow. We get to become, you know, spiritual warriors. We get to become self-masters through the process of having a worthy opponent. So shifting from a perspective of good and evil to a perspective of the worthy opponent and showing up for what we feel is right, you know, can help us to soften the edges around the fear that we might be feeling at this time, and perhaps give us more permission to show up and do our own job.
Beautifully said.